In tonight's Government Insider, improving the federal employee experience. New research from Deloitte and the Partnership for Public Service finds the public sector needs to do better. In 2014, only 60% of federal workers would recommend their agency as a good place to work. For insight on that statistic, I'm joined by Tom Fox with the Partnership for Public Service, and he's our federal coach as well. He writes a column for the Washington Post. Tom, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Let's start with recruitment. The federal government is struggling to attract top talent, especially workers under age 30. Here are some alarming statistics. The federal workforce under age 30 dropped from 9.1 to 6.6%, a steady reduction of more than 45,000 employees between 2010 and 2015. In contrast, in the entire U.S. workforce, 23.5% are under age 30. So what obstacles, Tom, stand in the way of Uncle Sam's ability to recruit the right workers?
Well, it's a good question. I think there are several obstacles, but I think the biggest among them, in my opinion, is really the fact that too oftentimes federal hiring managers, the folks who actually supervise these new employees, take a hands-off approach to recruiting and hiring. They leave all the work to HR and adopt really what some call a post and pray approach or post and pray strategy. They simply just post the job announcement online at USA Jobs and then pray that they get qualified applicants in. We can do better than that. While there are many folks who are interested in and very much want to become public servants, we need to do a better job of getting hiring managers out there actively recruiting potential job applicants and then working with HR all throughout the process to make sure that the best qualified candidates make it through that hiring process and ultimately get hired on the job within their federal agencies.
And recruitment is just the beginning. This research shows that government needs to improve the way it handles deployment, training, development. Are there any easy fixes out there? What are the low-hanging fruit?
Well, I don't know that there are any easy fixes or low-hanging fruit that hiring managers and leaders throughout government can take, but I have a few ideas of things they might adopt, especially given the fact that we're in a cash-constrained environment right now. It's not as though agencies have a lot of discretionary funding to send their employees to training and development or to offer them bonuses or anything like that. I mean, we're in the midst of budget cuts and pay freezes. So the best advice for leaders right now, when you think about not just getting folks in the door, but really engaging them and retaining them over time, is to focus on their professional growth and development. And that's certainly true for that group of millennials we talked about just a moment ago. Even if you don't have the money to invest in formal training and development, find opportunities for on-the-job or informal types of training and development. You can clearly give them opportunities to cross-train with other more experienced professionals on your team, or as a leader, you can actually take time to meet with individual employees or groups of employees and host things like a brown bag and share with them some of the lessons learned that you've developed throughout your experience. It could be hard skills, it could be soft skills, it could be just basic mentoring. The bottom line, in my opinion, is that you have to do something. You can't just simply write off the challenges and say, well, we just can't do anything in this circumstance.
And of course, mentoring requires mentors, senior leaders playing a central role in this discussion. There's been a big change at the top. OPM Director Catherine Archuleta stepped down last month in the wake of OPM's massive data breach, and Beth Colbert took over. That office creates government-wide personnel policies. Does it have the bandwidth to fix this talent issue?
Well, there are a lot of challenges confronting OPM these days, and the reality is that they'll have to find a way to address both their cybersecurity issues as well as the overall talent management issues confronting the federal government. I think the good news is that Beth is an incredibly smart and talented public servant who has shown that she can produce results, whether it's in her tenure at the Office of Management and Budget or in her previous career in the private sector. And so it will certainly be hard work. They've got a lot that they need to tackle, but I think they're in good hands with Beth.
You point to the Pathways program as a bright spot for talent management. How does it work?
Well, the Pathways program is a still relatively new initiative to really bring clarity to job seekers about their pathways into the federal government, and it's really a set of programs. It's internship programs, recent college graduate programs, and then something called the Presidential Management Fellows, which is a pathway into federal service for advanced careers, advanced degree graduates. And so if senior leaders work with their HR department to understand those programs, they can really build a pipeline for the hiring that they need to do, not just this year, but in future years as well. And some agencies have used them incredibly well. Others are still struggling to use them effectively. But there are tools there if the leaders are willing to really engage them and use them effectively.
Of course, everyone loves to get a good pat on the back, a promotion, as you mentioned earlier, a raise in pay. That has to be a factor for this recruiting and retention issue, right?
It is. I mean, I think the key here is recognition. So federal employees are smart. They know that their agencies are cash constrained, that some of the benefits they may have derived in the past, be it a spot bonus or paid time off, may not be as readily available today as they were in the past. But what a leader can still do is offer recognition, whether it's a literal pat on the back, a handwritten thank you note, perhaps a shout out at a team meeting, or just a one-on-one conversation to thank the employee for their hard work and their contributions to the team. There are many ways that leaders can recognize their employees that don't require any sort of cash. They just require the time and the commitment of the senior leader to do so. And there really is very little that's stopping them from doing that. And so get to work and make sure you're thanking your employees, not once or twice a year, but on a regular basis, and when they've really done something that is worthy of the recognition.
Our federal coach, Tom Fox, with the Partnership for Public Service. Thanks so much, Tom.
Thank you.